For nearly 1,000 years, one city stood unconquered, Boeing protected by massive walls. Strategic position, Boeing calcount, and centuries of history. Yorioak. It was called Constantinople, Wahinokaux, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Demoxiudi, a city many believed could never fall. Gyotro, kingdoms had tried, armies had failed, generations had marched toward its gates, only to be defeated. But in the 15th century, a young ruler would emerge with a different vision, a ruler determined to achieve what others could not. His name was Mehmed II, known to history as Mehmed the Conqueror. And he would change world history forever. The year is 1432. The Ottoman Empire is rising, territory is expanding, power is growing, and in the city of Edirne, Mehmed is born. From an early age, he was raised differently. This was not an ordinary prince. He was educated for leadership, languages, military strategy, politics, religion, history, everything about his upbringing prepared him for rule. But his early years were difficult. He was intelligent, but also stubborn, strong-willed, and difficult for some advisors to control. Still, his potential was obvious. At just 12 years old, he briefly became sultan, a child ruling one of the most powerful states in the region. But the situation was unstable. Threats surrounded the empire, and eventually, his father, Murad II, returned to power. For Mehmed, this became an important lesson. Leadership was not simply about ambition. It required patience, discipline, preparation. Years later, when his father died, Mehmed became sultan once again. This time, he was ready, and he already had one goal in mind: Constantinople, the city that divided continents, the city that stood between Europe and Asia, the city many rulers dreamed of conquering. For centuries, the Byzantines had survived through diplomacy, fortifications, and strategic alliances. But by Mehmed's time, the empire was weakening. Territory had shrunk, resources were limited, and Constantinople stood increasingly isolated. Mehmed saw opportunity, but he also understood the challenge. The city's walls were legendary, massive defensive structures, built to resist siege after siege. A direct attack alone would not be enough, so Mehmed prepared carefully. He strengthened the Ottoman military, expanded the navy, gathered resources, and invested heavily in new technology. Most famously, massive cannons, weapons powerful enough to shake walls that had stood for centuries. This was not just another siege. This was a new era of warfare. In 1453, the campaign began. The Ottoman army surrounded Constantinople. Tens of thousands of soldiers, ships blocking the sea, cannons positioned outside the walls, inside the city. Defenders prepared desperately. They knew what was at stake. If Constantinople fell, the Byzantine Empire would likely disappear forever. The siege continued for weeks. Cannons thundered day and night, walls cracked, repairs were made, then attacked again. Both sides fought intensely, but Mehmed remained determined. One of his boldest moves shocked everyone. A massive chain blocked Ottoman ships from entering the Golden Horn. Most believed it was impossible to bypass, but Mehmed had ships moved across land, over greased wooden tracks, pulled behind the hills, and suddenly, Ottoman ships appeared where defenders thought they were safe. The psychological impact was enormous. Pressure increased. The city weakened further, and finally, on May 29th, 1453, the final assault began. Wave after wave attacked the walls. Fighting spread across the defenses. Then, The Ottomans broke through. Constantinople had fallen after nearly 1,000 years. The Byzantine Empire came to an end, and Mehmed entered the city. The victory shocked Europe, it transformed the Ottoman Empire, and it changed global history. A new chapter had begun, but Mehmed's ambitions did not end there. He immediately began rebuilding Constantinople. The city had suffered heavily during the siege, population had declined, infrastructure was damaged, but Mehmed wanted more than conquest. He wanted a capital worthy of an empire, so he rebuilt markets, mosques, schools, roads, palaces. He encouraged people from different backgrounds and religions to settle in the city. Slowly, Constantinople transformed into Istanbul, one of the most important cities in the world. But Mehmed continued expanding, campaign after campaign. The Ottoman Empire grew stronger. Territories across the Balkans, Caucasus, Anatolia, and surrounding regions came under Ottoman control. His military reputation spread rapidly, yet Mehmed was more than a commander. He was deeply interested in knowledge, languages, science, art, history. He invited scholars to his court, supported learning, and studied the rulers who came before him, especially the Romans. In many ways, he saw himself as continuing imperial tradition, not simply destroying an empire, but replacing it. By the end of his reign, the Ottoman Empire had become one of the dominant powers of the world, and Mehmed's victory at Constantinople became one of the most important turning points in history. For Europe, trade routes changed, political fears increased, and new conflicts emerged. For the Ottomans, a golden era was beginning. Mehmed ruled until 1481, and when he died, he left behind far more than territory. He left behind a transformed empire, a transformed city, and a legacy remembered centuries later. Few rulers capture a city and change history forever. Mehmed II did both. If you want more history content, stories about the rulers who reshaped civilizations, subscribe. More is coming.